Welcome to today's episode of Webflow and Code, where I teach you the underlying code you're writing in Webflow. Today's episode will be about the document order, and it's day 4 of my 7-day challenge to create videos that bridge the gap between developer, designer, and Webflow creator. In the first episode, I explained that the browser will read your code line by line. Again, it's understanding the document line by line. It doesn't jump around, it reads exactly like a human would read a book. Given this, it's important to put ourselves in the shoes of a computer reading a document. The code that Webflow creates is just a document of text. If you were reading a document where all the paragraphs were jumbled up, it wouldn't take you long to be confused. And this is exactly what I see often when a website designer or developer doesn't respect document order. And it tends to happen when the designer or the developer is governed by the design of the website as opposed to how it should look in code. So let's take, for example, this website I've got set up here. I've used the cards layout component here. But a criticism or comment I often get from sort of designers or often marketing people is that if you can see that these paragraphs are all kind of jumbled up on different lines, and they kind of want them all to be even. So we can fix this with Flexbox, and below I've created an example where you can see all of them are lined up. And the way we've kind of done this is we've put each row into its own kind of div block here. There are two problems with this. The first one is that if we go into mobile, you can see that things aren't looking too great there. But I guess also the point is that if we read the code line by line, if we understand these line by line, you can see you've got image, 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 heading, 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 and then paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. And there's no way for a computer to understand that this heading is related to this paragraph, because the next thing in line is just another heading. This is what we mean by document order, so we can get it in order that makes sense to a computer or a user. And it's not easy, but I would, given that it's SEO and accessibility users, I would strongly recommend it's worth investing the time to get this right. So all I've done here is wrapped it in a div block and then use Flex to space all these items out. And this is what we kind of want to avoid. And there are ways to do this in grid, but Webflow doesn't have the capability of doing that, so we need to try and work a way around it. So if I duplicate this section, because there are some elements that I like from this that we can take, namely the rows, because that's the thing that's achieving the even heights. But in this third row, if I take what we've got in the first example, if I take those and put them in here, so I'm just copying them into there by holding Alt. And the first one, we're going to work with this now to make it into a document that makes sense. So if I change the width of these, what I first want to do is I want to hide the images. From desktop. So we've got these headings here. If you remember from my first episode in the document outline, the headings actually are very important for navigation of screen readers and for SEO spiders. So I want them to understand these headings, because this heading is related to this paragraph, and it's easy for a screen reader or an SEO spider to understand it in this order. So here, what I want to do is change these into paragraphs. And so I've just quickly done that there. I've made them look like headings, but they're paragraphs, okay? They're paragraphs. And the reason why I'm making them paragraphs is they will be read and understood by screen readers, but there won't be any emphasis put on those. So it's better that they're paragraphs rather than headings. So that's what I've tried doing here. The next thing we can do is add a special attribute to these, and the attribute we want to add is area hidden true. Now what this is doing, it's telling screen readers to essentially just ignore these when you read these out, just ignore them basically, don't read them out. SEO spiders will, but again, there's not a lot of interesting information in there, so I don't mind that being read by screen readers. So you can start to see now that we're starting to get that even height on the middle row, and the final thing to do is to what we need to do with these headings. And what we're going to do is add what I described in the first episode, which was the SR only class, and this will allow us to hide them. And you can see there that's hidden. So just to take us through this, I've got a tab here. This is a Stack Overflow article, which I spend most of my time on because I always forget how to do it. But essentially it's a Bootstrap convention. Bootstrap is a library for CSS components, and essentially what it's doing, it's positioning it and making it super small so it cannot be read, and cannot be read by a visual user, but it can still be read and understood by a computer. Now we can't do a lot of those things in Webflow, but what we can do, and if we have a look at this class here, what I've done is I've made it position absolute and then pushed it all the way to the left hand side of the screen, and I've saved that as a class. So now if I apply this class to all these headers, and what that will do, it will hide them off the screen. So this is essentially it done right now. So we've got area hidden on these two blocks, so a screen reader won't use them. We've made these into paragraphs, so what if a spider does read them, it doesn't put a lot of emphasis on them. And then this is really where a lot of the magic is happening. We've hidden the image, and I'll show you why we do that now. We've hidden the image. We've made the heading, which associates this paragraph and this bit of text here as content. We've hidden that from a visual user, but still maintained the importance of it from a computer. And here we go. So the reason why we've added these things in here, so if we go to mobile version, you'll see that our new one is kind of a bit all over the place. So now we just need to change the style a little bit to allow all this to work nicely on mobile. So the first thing we're going to do is just going to hide unhide the images. The next thing we're going to do is make this auto width so that they span all the way across. You can start to see this take shape now. And the other thing we've done, I think we're left over here, the other thing we've done is we've made these position static, these headings position static. And as you can see then, we're all looking, there might be a few little things we can do to make it look a bit better, but ultimately what we have here is the correct document order with a style that would please any sort of designer. The main purpose of this episode was just to teach you how important the order of the document is for your SEO and accessibility users. And it needs to be created in the order that you expect it to be understood by computers and by humans. Try and pull yourself away from the design of the website, because that's where a lot of mistakes I find happen when you're creating the project, is because it's dictated too much by the design, which is kind of why my tip of just creating the structure and creating the layout of your website first without any kind of styling or whatever, just create your layout. It will look terrible, but creating that first and then moving on into the styling is really the easiest way to do this. So that's document order. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and learned a little bit about how you can improve your Webflow projects by understanding code. If If you need any clarification on anything, leave me a comment below in the comment section. If you have anything that you don't understand or that you want me to cover in Webflow, then also leave me a comment and I'll make a video on it. And until next time, happy no coding.